This is Tia Graham reporting for the Real News Network in Worcester County, Maryland. I'm standing outside the Worcester County Courthouse where two former Pocomoke City officers just heard the last arguments before their trial for misconduct in office. The motions hearing marked the next step in the proceedings since Maryland State Prosecutor Emmett Davitt filed charges of misconduct against Kelvin Sewell, the first black police chief of Pocomoke City, a small town on Maryland's lower eastern shore. Sewell was fired last year amid allegations of racism that rocked the city. 6 months later, he filed a lawsuit claiming he was let go in retaliation for refusing to fire two black officers who'd filed discrimination complaints against the Worcester County Drug Task Force. And now the United States Department of Justice has joined the suit, alleging Pocomoke and the state of Maryland conspired to discriminate and retaliate against Sewell and his subordinates. But that hasn't deterred Davitt from pursuing charges against the former Baltimore City homicide supervisor and his lieutenant Lionel Green. A case focused upon an accident which occurred in 2014 involving two parked cars. Davitt says Sewell and Green interfered with an investigation that should have resulted in drunk driving charges against a local corrections officer. And inside the courtroom, Sewell's efforts to defend himself made little headway. The judge barred an expert law enforcement witness Sewell enlisted to testify on how much discretion a police officer has during an accident investigation, and prevented Sewell from gaining access to disciplinary records of the officers who are expected to testify against him. After the hearing, both Sewell and Green expressed frustration with the proceedings.
I do want to say this. Let me say this right here. I do believe in the justice system. I believe in the Worcester County justice system. So I think if a person is innocent until proven guilty, I think we're gonna have a fair shot here. A lot of people out here remember me with the good job I did in Pocomoke City, with the good job we did in Pocomoke City. And so I think because of that, they'll remember what we did and make a fair decision when they finish deliberating.
I asked the prosecutor when this investigation began. I asked him if it happened after the lawsuit, and he wouldn't answer me. Do you think this investigation began after the lawsuit was filed?
Yes, I really do, and I'm not going to elaborate on any further, but yes, I think so, because if it was something that was going on, why now? So that's just how I feel. I'm tired, really. We've been going through this for almost 6 months, yes. And I'm tired, really.
When you say you're tired, is this taking a toll on you?
Yes, and my family, yes.
Really How has it affected you?
Going home in the evenings and, my kids, they're adults, but they're thinking, oh, Dad, why are they saying these bad things about you? And, we're parents, and we've been in law enforcement for a long time. There's no integrity about us. We just do our job, and we do it to the best of our ability. We want to help people. And coming here, I thought that's what was going to happen for us. We make your town better, that you will support us in every way. We came here in the beginning, we had to start putting our feet on the ground, fighting from the beginning. Instead of saying, okay, having an open mind, and we're going to let these two guys come in and do a job effectively, we always had walls. Knock down this wall, here come another wall. And it's time to move forward.
But as the criminal trial unfolds, the Real News has learned that efforts to dig into Sewell's past continue, and they are not focused on his work as a cop, but on sex. Just last week, Pocomoke resident Reverend James Jones was home when a man he did not know appeared in his driveway. The stranger told Jones he was a private investigator working for the state of Maryland on behalf of the defendants in Sewell's discrimination lawsuit. And he told Jones he had some shocking news.
He says, I was told, I don't say it was a good source, I don't say they were a reliable source, but I had someone to speak to me and they said that Lieutenant Green was the father of your great-grandchild. I said, let me tell you something. I said, my granddaughter, her mother, made a high school mistake like many kids do. I said, but she didn't even know anything about Lauren Green when she was expecting to have a child. I said, and he is not the father of my great-grandchild. I says, what are you telling me, Mr. Hewitt? And he says, Reverend, those three were corrupt. Those three, we were talking about Sewell and Green, he says, and Savage. They did corrupt things. They did a good job of cleaning up the streets in the eyes of the public. but they're womanizers, and they created problems, you know. And I says, but the city didn't see it. I said, he's a member of our congregation, and we have the highest praise for him. So, I mean, wherever your information is coming from, it'd be a shock to me to see you show evidence of K.D. Sewell being unfaithful in his marriage, or discrediting himself with people in the community by doing such a thing. Well, it's pretty much true. I got really upset when he started talking about my great-granddaughter. You know, I mean, we're talking about a 3-year-old that is the joy of my life, and for you to tell me that my granddaughter, who is a third-year college student at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore and doing quite well at it, a good mother on her own as a single mother, that she's been with somebody that I called a friend because of what they did in our community. Well, you're going to be hurt then. If you feel that way about them, you're going to be hurt in the end, because it's all going to come out.
It was an accusation that stunned him, shock that later turned to anger, and prompted Jones to conclude that the case against Sewell is retaliation, and that the Pocomoke officials do not have a legitimate answer to the former chief's allegations of racism.
And for everybody out there today, I want to say this. No one, but no one from this point on will come to me and say anything discrediting about Calvin Sewell or his force that he had in place, when I know the real guy and know what he's done for us in our community. When you get to where you're just scratching and digging and trying to pull up anything you can, when you're putting yourself beneath the mud to try to absorb something, to pull something out, extract something, so that you can try or attempt to damage someone, you've got to have known that you bit off more than you could chew, that you started off on the wrong foot, you didn't take care of things the way you should have, and now your back's against the wall. And I feel strongly that their backs are against the wall.
We called the investigator, who declined to comment. For now, both sides will have their day in court later this week. For Sewell and Green, the stakes are high. Their lifelong careers as police officers, as well as their reputations, hang in the balance. About a seemingly endless conflict over race and justice in Pocomoke, which seems far from over. This is Taya Graham and Stephen Janis reporting for the Real News Network in Snow Hill, Maryland. For full disclosure, Stephen Janis wrote a book with Kelvin D. Sewell.